The Triathlon Club of San Diego has been holding swimming, biking, and running races on Fiesta Island for 30 years. But club president Stephen Bannister found out this year would be different.
Back in November, we went and applied for permits for Fiesta Island, and we're told that the entire year was full and there was no opportunity to permit for any events on Fiesta Island.
The club's races are meant to help triathlon beginners get used to biking and swimming in big groups. During the races, the road that circles Fiesta Island is usually closed between 6 and 9 a.m.
It's better not to have that interaction between cars and bikes, and that's something that's really unique about Fiesta Island is it's one of the few places you can go and really get away from cars.
Bannister was able to negotiate for 3 races. They normally have 12. This is because of a vote last July by the Mission Bay Park Committee, which advises the city's Parks and Recreation Department. The committee decided to cut in half the number of weekends Fiesta Island's road could be closed. A meeting recording is not available, but according to meeting minutes, city staff told the committee that there were a lot of complaints about how often the island road is closed. KPBS asked for records of these complaints and was told the city doesn't keep them. But we got a list of 7 groups who had complained. So KPBS talked to the leaders of the groups. They said they had never complained to the city.
I've never formally filed a complaint with the city about it.
Chance Adair is the coach of the San Diego Dragon Boat team. Though she's never complained, she says the reduced road closures do make it easier for her team to get to the water.
So it became a very taxing opportunity for us to keep a solid practice schedule going. And we like to get in here every weekend in order for just for the club practices and club purposes, as well as training for upcoming races.
We asked the city why they were saying these groups complained when they didn't. Parks and Recreation spokesman Bill Harris says another person in each group might have called to complain.
Representing themselves as being participants. And we would have taken that information down and kept a record of that.
But group leaders say no one would have complained without their knowing. Harris later clarified in an email how his department, quote, kept a record of the people calling to complain, despite not keeping records of complaints. He says they're, quote, mostly verbal and aren't retained. Harris also says the city told groups who use the island about the change in policy.
We really do believe that we were able to talk to just about everybody who had a stake out there.
But none of the groups interviewed by KPBS knew what had happened until after the reduction in use permits was made. In fact, even though the change was made a year ago, most groups didn't know about it until KPBS told them.
And it wasn't actually until I got contacted that I thought, you know what, that's right. There hasn't been that many.
Adair says the only time she spoke with someone from the city about the change was when a city staffer called her last month to say we wanted to interview her. This despite the fact that the San Diego Dragon Boat team was listed as one of the organizations that complained. While none of the groups complained to the city about the number of road closures, a few leaders would say something to city employees when events creeped past the scheduled road closure times. The change was made on a 9-month trial basis, but Harris with the city says he expects it will stick.
Everything that I've seen and everything that we've talked about as staff shows that it's working pretty well and that there really is a lot more use of the park by a lot more people in those hours.
Bannister, the head of the Triathlon Club, says the sharp cutback is especially painful because Fiesta Island is widely recognized as the birthplace of triathlons. And this year is the sport's 40th birthday.
I don't think we're going anywhere as a club, but it sure hurts to have the birthplace of the sport taken away as a venue.
Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.